If you grew up in the 90s, you remember the sensory overload. Saturday morning television functioned as a ruthless proving ground for attention engineering. By April 1995, we hit peak saturation. You had live TV events commanding tens of millions of viewers, localized video game cartridges hitting the shelves, and cereal mascots competing for absolute dominance over your breakfast table. To understand how effective these tactics were, look at this timeline charting April 1995. It displays massive consumer engagement and viewership numbers, stacking up directly against products that had objectively low nutritional or functional value. Today, we look back at these brightly colored artifacts through a warm lens of nostalgia. But as marketers and consumers, we have to separate our childhood memories from the math and ask if these were high ROI products or simply highly optimized psychological traps. To answer that, we are going to conduct a rigorous analysis of three distinct 1990s marketing strategies: parasocial mascots, IP reskinning, and live event clickbait. We will separate the tactics that yield long-term value from those that offer only empty calories. Decoupling our memories from the raw efficacy of these mechanics gives us clarity. It allows modern parents and marketers to make informed choices today, without falling for the same tricks that worked on us 30 years ago. The 90s grocery store cereal aisle served as the primary battleground for childhood attention and brand loyalty. Brands deployed what we can call Tier 2 mascots, characters with high-speed, erratic behaviors, like a cuckoo bird going rabid for cocoa dust. They were engineered to mirror the high-velocity ADHD energy of their target demographic. This strategy creates immediate brand recognition and pester power at the grocery store, but it requires masking poor nutritional value with a pure sugar glaze to deliver on the mascot's manic promise. Then you have the Tier 1 strategy, the generational scam artists. Think of a talking toucan convincing an entire generation they were tasting distinct fruit flavors, when in reality, every loop was the exact same flavor. These Tier 1 mascots achieved Hall of Fame status. By fabricating flavor profiles and health benefits, they secured a market dominance that lasted for decades. This matrix maps Tier 1 scammers against lower-tier mascots, charting generational scam efficacy against roof-of-mouth injury risk. But Tier 1 carries a long-term risk. When that core demographic hits adulthood and realizes the product's actual composition, the brand faces a total loss of trust. Establishing strong parasocial bonds with an avatar proves that brands can sell objectively empty calories as long as the marketing remains consistently charismatic. Moving from the grocery store to the video game aisle reveals a different form of attention engineering. In April 1995, Nintendo prioritized physical software cartridges over hardware to capture a child's allowance. Their input tactic was efficient. They took a complex, successful Japanese arcade puzzle game called Puyo Puyo. Then they executed the reskinning. They scrubbed the original anime identity out of the code and wrapped it in a safe, established IP, Kirby. The commercial outcome was immediate. By leveraging a familiar face on the box art, they guaranteed shelf presence and drove sales for a game that otherwise would have required millions in market education. This process flow illustrates the transition. The raw foreign game code passes through an established IP filter, resulting in an immediate localized sales spike. The speed of this tactic is what makes it so commercially appealing. IP reskinning generates guaranteed Q2 revenue, but it alienates core consumers upon discovery. The brand sacrifices artistic integrity for a short-term cash grab. Before he was associated with daytime talk show brawls, Geraldo Rivera built a reputation as an ambitious reporter. In 1986, he orchestrated a media event centered on the mystery of a legendary gangster's secret underground vault. The strategy involved manufacturing massive stakes for a live 2-hour primetime television special with absolutely zero guaranteed payoff. He captured a record-breaking 30 million live viewers, effectively inventing the retention tactics used by modern YouTube creators today. The delivery was a disaster. After 2 hours of primetime tension, they blew open the vault to reveal literal dirt and a few empty glass bottles. This quadrant chart plots hype against delivery. Geraldo's vault drops into the extreme high hype, low delivery corner. The gap between hype and reality caused immediate reputational damage. Deceiving 30 million people live requires years of pivoting to repair a brand. Manufacturing hype without substance is the fastest way to capture a demographic, but it damages long-term audience trust. The ROI of 1990s media is clear. High-hype tactics capture immediate attention, but charismatic, consistent branding secures generational loyalty despite product flaws. This flowchart splits the final evaluation into two distinct paths based on your modern goals: marketers and parents. For the strategy optimizer, the directive is clear: scrap the Geraldo model. Building a funnel on empty promises spikes quarterly metrics right before destroying brand equity. Instead, study the Tier 1 mascot approach. Leverage highly identifiable branding to anchor the consumer to the product over the long term. The crucial caveat is substance. You cannot rely on the puffed wheat mechanics of the 90s to cover up a bad offering today. For the culture investor, the parents deciding what childhood artifacts are worth passing down, the calculation changes. A concrete investment might be sharing a hilariously awkward USA Network dub of a classic 90s comedy with your kids. This investment delivers pure joy, allowing you to share a foundational piece of your own cultural lineage with the next generation. This choice requires you to intentionally suspend modern health and media optimization standards for the duration of the experience. Nostalgia is a precise tool. We should respect the ruthless hustle of the 90s attention engineers, but we must actively choose how and when they deploy their tactics in our modern lives.